Hey there, it's Leah Piper, your Tantra expert here at the Sex Reimagined podcast.
And Dr. Willow Brown, your Taoist sexology expert. And we had such a fun interview today with Polina Solda, who teaches women how to find the right man. She even has a podcast called How to Find the Right Man. And she teaches them with her very simple, proven process based on psychology. And it is so fun to learn. And you're going to have so much fun listening to her. This Eniostyle system that she uses. You're going to get a taste of it in this next episode.
Yeah, so have fun. You know what to do, my friends. You just have to tune in, turn on, and fall in love with the beautiful Polina.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
Polina, welcome. We're so happy to have you today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here too.
So I want to just step right into it and have you tell us, how is your work in the dating system different than all these other dating specialists and experts out there that help people find love?
It's a wonderful question. And I love that you use the word system, because what makes my approach so different is that I'm using a system, and it is psychology-backed, personalized approach. I'm using personality typing system that empowers women, first of all, really connecting to who we are and owning who we are and showing up authentically. And also it simplifies and personalizes the whole approach to dating, because they know exactly who to look for. So it empowers them in recognizing the right person, most compatible person for them. And it's all scientific and psychology backed. And it simplifies it by eliminating all that wasted time and doing what I call dating blindfolded, when you're just randomly guessing and relying on some basic things like physical attraction and common interests. Yet, as we all know, as we get to know each other, if we're only relying on that general basic attraction and superficial criteria, it takes us time to realize that we might not be right for each other. And so personality typing eliminates all of that and saves a lot of time and effort.
Cool.
Tell us a little bit more about this typing work that you're working with.
Yes. So the system is called the Eniostyle. It is based on Carl Jung.
Say it one more time. The
Eniostyle. What it means is it's an energy and ion information, a style of energy and information exchange. If you think about who we are as humans, we're just a combination of energy and information. And if you think about relationships, what we do is we exchange energy and information. So it is a certain style, and there's nothing new about this, or there's only 4 psychological types. This was created by Carl Jung, so it's all psychology backed, and chances are we all know that we're logical people, we're emotional, sensory, and intuitive. So it's based on those psychology proven and backed criteria of how we naturally show up in the world and what our natural strengths and assets are.
So within the system, are there certain types? Like if somebody's more of an energy type or more of a
sensory type,
sensory,
emotion, energy.
So Carl Jung was the first one who came up with this distinction that some people are more logical than others. Some people are more intuitive, creative types. Logical or systematic.
Okay.
And some people are really more into they're really emotional feelings, and relationships are the dominant focus, if you will. And then there are also those sensory people who are also very driven, and visually they want everything has to be the best, and they want to get to that next level. And so we all have a combination of all 4.
Okay.
However, each of us has that dominant. So somebody's not going to be both very, very logical and rational and practical, and very, very emotional and sensitive and connected to their feelings and others.
Yeah, because they're too polarized.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Is there a primary and a secondary in this system?
Exactly. That goes deeper. So on the most basic level, we all have a combination, but once we know, so we all come with the dominant strength, like It's also our mission. It's something that we cannot not do. So, for
Mhm.
example, somebody who is very creative, they're going to come up with ideas. They're going to innovate. They're going to be driven by what's interesting to them. And it's going to be very, very different, like their priorities and how they choose to spend their time, and even what they value in the relationship is like that, having that freedom to be who we are and be expressive. It's going to be very different than somebody, let's say, who wants a lot of attention, and their world is the world of emotions. It's a constant fear of emotions, and let's talk about this, and this is how I feel today, and please spend time with me. It's like very different. You can see, right? Like, yeah, of
Totally.
course, we all want freedom and we want attention and connection, but at a different degree.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Willow, I bet you're thinking what I'm thinking right now.
Oh yeah. We're likening
Your
them to the
mind reading.
pattern
Yeah,
stuff
we
that
are.
we
We
use.
are.
Yeah.
It's another one of Freud's famous students. Wilhelm Reich has another kind of personality patterning system, and I'd
Mhm.
love to see when systems overlap and they're picking up the same threads, even if there's different language to them, because it's sort of, in my feeling, what it lifts me up to know we're following something. Like
Yeah.
it brings more truth to every system when they're interweaving.
When they weave.
So I'm already enjoying this process. So how would you, Polina, like?
Describe
So,
the other two. I want to hear about the
oh,
other
okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so
okay.
the
I'll,
other
I'll wait
two-
on my question.
Sure. And let's, by the way, what makes Eniostyle so brilliant? First of all, it's super simple and it's fascinating and it's so easy to learn. So there's 4 types, can be easily remembered, just like 4 cardinal points. And if you think about even the countries and the cultures that I'm going to talk about, so North, you will immediately know what the mission is. It's super easy to learn. So North, what do we know about North? Practical, right? Think about functionality, minimalism, right? There's that system that we keep. There's a structure. And then East, creativity, ideas, wisdom, right?
Mhm.
Think about any country, like
Right.
philosophy,
Eastern
right?
cultures, have this rich,
South,
yeah,
South, really hot in terms of
yes.
emotion, connections, family, sex. Like
Uh-huh.
it's all about relationships. So their mission is to ensure that the humanity continues. East ensures that humanity continues in the wave of evolvement. Like let's invent internet and electric cars and things that didn't exist before. But then North also ensures that the system is there. Let's have rules and law and order and all of the systems. And then of course West is, if you think about West also in terms of like even geographically, advancement. Well, we want to be the best, we want to be ahead, achievement, success, right? And so it's very interesting. So very specific criteria that I teach all of my clients to recognize. So very specific, like even our body types, even our how we think is going to be driven by what our type is. Somebody will say, "Oh, I just had an idea," versus somebody else will say, "Well, this is the first time we meet, and it's appropriate to talk about the weather." And they're not going to say it that way. We're just going to start talking about the weather, and we're going to be very like systematic and logical. Or somebody else is going to just start talking about their feelings. And so, what was your last relationship like? And then West, we're going to talk about, what I want is that when I get into a relationship, and this is the, I want to travel, like I want to do this, I want to build my business with my partner. It's going to be like in everything. It's so easy to learn and fascinating to learn.
I love it.
So then there's directions, and then you have what do you call like the pattern type when you're either an intuitive or a logical?
So that is your type. That is your type. You
Okay,
either North, you South, or West.
Okay.
Your dominant type. Of course, we all have a combination.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm following. So then what's the next category within the system?
So what's so important to why we want to understand it is because when I even looked in the research, because we're not even getting to like the point when people commit to each other and get married, which by the way, at that point, these 2 people think we love each other and want to spend the rest of our life together, right? All couples, 7 out of 10 break up before that first year mark. And it happens for the same reason as 50% of all marriages fall apart. And that basic reason, so out of about 50% of all marriages that that end up in divorce, that 50% rate, half of them, the number one reason is basic incompatibility. And so
Yeah.
why Eniostyle is so empowering, besides the fact that it makes it super easy, you know exactly who you are, but you start, and it simplifies, you know who to look for. It ensures that who you choose as a partner, of course you can choose anyone, but based on who you are, you can choose the most compatible partner for you. So it's easy to be together. And
So
that is the number one reason.
What's the most compatible for the emotional? I want to
So-
talk about compatibility.
Again, super easy. Totally. So they are
It's the north and the south, the east and the west.
Can we
Exactly.
frame it just a little bit different? And that is, how would you help someone who's coming to you for the first time, and and you know that they're an emotional? What would you
First
say
of
to them?
all, whenever somebody comes to me, and I already have an instant hypothesis of something.
Okay.
You just talked about it earlier.
You can feel it, yeah.
Off camera,
immediately.
right? So, but I will not rob that person of self-discovery. So each client, as you learn the system, you're gonna automatically know who
Find
you are.
yourself.
So
Yeah.
each
Okay.
client will, each person will discover their type,
Okay.
and once they know it, it's who is most compatible is going to be somebody who is different and complementary, and that is going to be exactly the opposite. So
The
north is
polar
very easy.
opposite.
Polar opposite,
Okay.
north and south, and west and
Okay.
east.
Gotcha.
And the reason for that is because, so what we want is we want somebody who is different yet complementary. We don't
Mhm.
want somebody who is so different and not complementary, compatible with us at all. Or again, you can be with anybody. The question is what it's going to cost you. We could be with somebody who is exactly the same as us.
and be bored to
and
death, and just be
what's gonna happen?
bored to death.
Or what's going to happen is, first of all, not compatible types, they're not going to be compatible right away. So I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
Let's say you are a north type of woman. You have your calendar, everything is planned a week ahead. You really value that system. You have your plans. This is what you do every day. And these type of men, and there are plenty on online dating sites, they love to play. They're full of creative ideas. They're so spontaneous. What makes them so interesting is they're so romantic and predictable. But what also drives women crazy of a north type is that they make plans. And then the day comes, we're meeting tonight. And then how he thinks, very creative, driven by interest, he saw someone else or something else happen, and he says, let's reschedule. And that drives her crazy. So right away, that already is not compatible at all. They just have different values. It doesn't work out at that level. They haven't even met.
That's a great example. Yeah. I can see that over.
So
and
what
over.
about the emotional who's like, oh God, I really, I
So what
feel-
happens, right? What happens? Let's use the same example. A north type of woman,
Okay.
very structured, logical, has her system. For a south type,
Because this is compatible.
for them, they're compatible. So for them, relationships is everything. And they will make the plan a week in advance, and they will keep it. And it's not because, like, this is just logical. I said that I'm going to do it. Like, their thinking is different. This is important to me. This is another person, and they have their feelings, and they might get hurt. And they are going to be, like, aligned.
They're going to follow through out of obligation and
make
out of
sure.
respect.
Yes.
Okay.
Ethics of relationships is going to be their reason. And for a West, so my husband is an East type. He's the one who can, like, just change his mind at any moment. And
Is that the intuitive one?
Yeah, that's the intuitive
Okay.
creative. I'm a West type. For me, really, my making impact is really a priority. So when he's like, let's reschedule. I'm like, first of all, I always have other options. I'm so grounded. I'm so, like, for me, it's like, okay, no, not a problem. I have that flexibility in me, and I'll be like, okay, it's your loss, and I'm gonna work on something else. Or I have other men, like when we were dating, it was exactly the case. It's like, it's not a problem, so I can handle that. And for that man, having that freedom and be able to like know that there is no leash. And all of a sudden he's like, what's happening here? Who is she? And now I'm not chasing after him. And
Yeah.
that for him is like subconsciously, we're always looking for a dual partner. It's called a dual partner. It's the
I
exact
could see how
outline
that
of it.
would be compatible. Yeah.
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 14 years.
14 years? That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So where did you learn this system?
That system was invented in Russia like 40 years ago, and it has been tested and refined. This is where I originally come from, so I speak the language, and I got certified. Like I saw how empowering it is, because what happened is when in all of my work, I would get clients' results, they would get into a relationship, but when some of those relationships wouldn't work out later on, and I never knew why, like where was something missing. And so that compatibility, I think, is the key. And so for all of my clients now who use the system and they choose most compatible partners, they all say the same thing. It's like how easy it is, because you can be totally yourself. Like the qualities, for example, in my relationship, I'm very like direct. I am like, my business is very important to me, and for him, his freedom is important. So we complement each other. Like I can totally be myself. I can say like, look, yeah, like just like he's playing golf this afternoon, and I am doing this work because I want to spread this message. It's like it happens naturally. So
Right.
of course
You're
you can
both
be
following your joy. It's like you're being authentically who you
yourself.
are and what you're driven to do, and you
Yeah.
make it okay for each other. Because, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
west, he's east.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Give us an example of a couple that you've helped or a couple that you know who's north and south.
Yeah. So north and south. Actually, let me give you a great example. So I tell all of my clients who are south type.
Oh, and also let's also, as we say north and south, let's give them the name too, so that
The
we can
type.
start. Yeah, the type.
Yeah.
You mean like north is logical,
That's
south
right.
is emotional.
Yeah.
That's right.
So when I have my ladies south type, which is emotional type, I know right away. So I can see it's a south type of woman. There's certain criteria we use. And then they tell me about the reasons why, or like patterns in their relationships that didn't work, like they dating. So what happens is two things. They dating a west type or they dating an east type. I can tell exactly like the type of man that they were with without even ever seeing them, just based on the challenges. So before we go into how it works, really, I want to also show by contrast why compatibility, why choosing most compatible partner. Because if you're a soft type of woman, your mission is to love emotions, feelings, relationships. So if you choose without even knowing nothing about different personality types, and for example, a West type of man is portrayed by the general dating advice industry as most desirable, is
And
a high
west is
quality man.
sensory.
West is somebody who is very masculine, driven, ambitious, gonna be successful. Like I am West type. Like I want the best, everything, right? And they can be like, yeah, like I want a man provide, protect, and lead. However, for a South type of woman, his priority is going to be that ambition and that drive. Her mission is to love. She wants attention. There will be those moments when she will feel like she has to put so much effort. She's not going to get what a North type of man is going to give her naturally, that
Right.
guarantees he's
'Cause
going to be there.
Her system is wired to make that partner the number one priority in her world.
And he will
And
never
his
do it.
system is not wired
He's
that
not
way.
going
So
exactly.
she probably feels neglected and not a priority, and is always kind of grasping for what she needs.
Exactly.
Okay.
And for a North type, so this is where I want to lead to an example, actually, which is even beyond my clients. Let's just use an example that anybody can look up, and that is Bridget Jones' diary.
Okay.
Because Bridget Jones is a very classic South type of woman. It's all about feelings and how she feels in her body and processing all of her emotions and connection to food and pleasure and comfort and kinesthetic. So how it's so interesting. So Mark Darcy is a North type, and it's very interesting to see. I'm going to get to that point in a moment. What happens when a South type of woman tries to create a relationship with an East type of man? Why it's a disaster? It doesn't work. And actually, her boss, Bridget Jones' diary, that playful, very romantic, very fun and exciting, takes her on an emotional roller coaster. But when it hurts, because he's attachment style avoidant / anxious. He gets anxious. Is she gonna like take all of my freedom? She's so needy. She's too much. I need my space. Like this is not interesting anymore. And she needs all that and attention. And nobody, except for that North type for whom it's his system, his mission is to keep things. He's always gonna be there. He's gonna be consistent. He's gonna be reliable. And so what happens, they bring the best in each other. He becomes more available for, he's a great listener. He holds that space for her. She calms down. She knows this man is not going anywhere. He's going to give her that commitment. He makes dinner plans on Tuesday night for next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. They're having dinner. It's as good as done. And she gets to be
She
her
can
best
relax.
self.
She can
Relax.
trust. She can be herself. I love
That
that.
anxiety is gone, which is her
Yeah.
typical, that attachment style is anxious. Like, do you love me? Do you still want me? And
Oh
this
yeah,
type
that's
gonna drive her
interesting.
crazy.
Do each of the types kind of have a more anxious or avoidant style?
Yes, it's a great
generally?
question. Absolutely, there is a trend. So west and north tend to be more avoidant
Avoidant.
secure.
Right.
East and south. So east can be both avoidant and anxious, and I see it actually they shift.
Probably because
Okay.
of their creative nature of being able to
Creative
be.
in nature is that there is uncertainty, and so what
It's
causes
like I want to go over here and create. No, I'm over here and creating. Yeah, you just
what causes that what causes a feeling of anxiety oftentimes is uncertainty. So they live in that. That's their air.
Okay.
But then there's also avoidant attachment style if they being triggered, if their biggest value is their freedom. And if somebody, like my husband was engaged 3 times, never got married. But he dated, so I typed all of his ex-girlfriends. They were all the same East type. They were too similar.
And he's East, right? Okay.
He's an East type. And so what was missing is that, again, that example of that
That
grounded, who is like, okay, fine, you know, I'm busy right now. And
Yeah.
now he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
From the contrary. But I don't have to try. It's who I am.
It's just naturally who you are.
Yeah.
And okay, I love this. So how can people assess themselves? Is there a quiz? Is there an assessment sheet?
Yeah, so I used to have a test, but now to do that right is to learn the system. So all of my clients, that's what I teach, and my entire program. What makes it different? It's completely customized. So once you know your personality type, it's very different paths. So for each type, it's very different strategies in how you communicate and even where you meet man. Because in this type of man, like they're gonna be entrepreneurs, freelancers, creative type. Like where are you gonna meet them? They're gonna be in like a very interesting, like think about nomads and original, innovative, like music festivals in the desert, some things like that. It's gonna be unusual. It's going to be creative. Versus North type, logical system, any kind of system. They love to dress in the way that system tells them. So it's going to be very different. Think about doctors, think about police, like system, think about pilots. You have to follow
like
order.
uniform. Yeah.
Right? Uniform. They love uniform, or they love very traditional, like corporate America. It's very, very clear, right? Math, accountant. And West is going to be, they want to be their own boss.
They want to wear whatever the hell they want to wear.
West level, right?
Yeah.
It's like I get to run this place wherever, I'm a CEO of my own business or somebody's company. I am in charge here. So very different, like, and of course, South, anything that has to do with emotions, entertainment. So if it has to do with food,
Right.
And
Food
watching
and music and the arts.
sports, like watching sports while you're enjoying,
Right.
they're going to be there. Absolutely.
How fun.
So, okay, let's say, so in our system, there's like, you've got your primary, you've got your secondary, and there's a light side of them and a shadow side of them, right?
Yes, it's exactly the same. Yes.
So you kind of can transcend the shadow side as you evolve over time, as you become more and more conscious. And so I'm curious if you have people come to you who are already in relationship, they're already committed to somebody, and they're like, damn, we don't have the primary poles that that are ideal, but maybe they have transcended that, and their secondary personality pattern shines through a little bit more and can kind of bring more harmony within the relationship.
Yes, such a good question. My gosh. So my focus mainly is I work with women who are single
Okay.
and they want to find the right man for them, and I actually guarantee them that result. So I work with them till they find this person, and I teach them the system. They know exactly what to do, why it works, and they get there. However, what I also teach is that it doesn't have to be like it doesn't have to be perfect. I think as long as you align on the basic, again, it's just easy. But if you're already in a relationship and you realize, okay, you are two East types, oftentimes it happens because they connect on their values of freedom and creativity
Sure.
and self-expression.
Yeah.
So just understand that. So, and again, I believe you can be with anybody. You just got to know what it's going to cost you. So for an East type, what's going to be missing is that West energy. And the West energy is like, I got this. I decided this is what we're doing. I'm going to make it happen. And I do it naturally. So my husband comes up with an idea. I'm like, okay, we're doing it. And I've done it on a major scale. He was dreaming about a new boat. I made it happen. A brand new custom, speedboat. So, and for him, it would be just a dream if it wasn't for me. I brought in that, like, okay, this is
The
how we're gonna.
practicality of it.
So what's going to happen is one of those people, maybe both of them, will develop that muscle. Somebody will bring that, and it might not be so easy because it's not natural for us, but it doesn't mean that they cannot do it.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of my marriage, my husband. It's like he never traveled until I came into his life, right? So I brought color and food and tastes and the adventure to his life. And he brought me security and comfort and reliability and um
Yeah, you guys are very
he
south
settles my
north.
nervous system. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For someone who could be he has a very grounding effect on me. So it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. I can see the parallels.
Yeah, but imagine if you can be with anybody, but let's say two South types.
Mm-hmm.
There's another example.
And again,
So much
South
emotion.
is emotional.
Yeah,
and-
so much
and
emotion, right? We're gonna be just, let's say, both of us, when I start like plates flying, subject, like it's gonna be that tears, and who is going to be there to play that logical, rational, and say, okay, let's sit down, let's discuss. Like somebody will have to step up to that role, right? Doesn't mean
Right.
that you can't. It's all about empowerment. And for me, empowerment is really knowing who you are, owning who you are, and aligning like everything you do. That's why even the whole dating strategy, don't do anything that doesn't work for you specifically, let's say, but it's all about like, don't lose yourself. Don't try so hard to be this other energy, this other type, that it
Right.
costs you losing that connection to what makes you who you authentically are.
Right, because so much of the time women will tie themselves up into a pretzel to try to be who they think that person will love. And, they'll try to contort in order to be this thing that isn't always in alignment with their true essence. And I had a question, which is, I imagine when you've got two South people, for instance, because I dated another South person, and the thing that drove me crazy was just like a little too smothering. It was a little too much. There was a little more drama, and it was like I want to just wipe it off. So I bet this is where the secondary feature is important that you can lean into if you're going to stay in a relationship where you are the same direction. Is that true?
We have like, first type, or it's called function. Again, we're going a little bit deeper, but basically, so our first type is like our mission, is what we cannot not do. But the tools, how we achieve our goals, our how-to, is going to be our second strongest.
Okay.
Cool.
So, for example, I'm a West type. My mission is to grow, make impact in society specifically. So for me, for example, it's not enough that I have an amazing relationship. I want all women who want to find the right person, find that person. So that's my impact. However, how I achieve it, my how-to is I'm West South actually. And South, I
Okay.
communicate. I run my podcast. I speak on our podcast. I host virtual events. I bring people together because South is all about feelings, emotions, communication, and
Connection.
Oh, I like
Mhm,
this.
mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's a great example of explaining how the secondary,
How it
blends in. So,
moves. Yeah.
yeah. So to
It's like
make
our
sure.
toolbox. I like to show it like you carry toolbox. And so how you know that this is your second is in any stressful situation. For
Mm.
example, if I got lost and I was in the middle of nowhere, I would find somebody. I would talk to another person.
That's how you would get out of
That's
that
how,
situation.
yes.
Yeah.
But for example,
You would
if
find connection.
right, but if it's somebody else, like if it's a North type who has secondary East, so somebody logical and creative,
Okay.
they might
Logical and
think
creative.
logically, okay, these are the facts of a situation, and they find a creative solution.
Mhm.
They might, they're not necessarily going to talk to somebody. They might use technology. They
Mhm.
actually,
Okay.
let me use GPS on my phone. I wouldn't even think about it. I'm going to
Okay.
talk to a human.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's much easier for me to ask versus somebody like
When
technology idea. What is the idea? Like, what is the creative way to solving it on my own?
Mhm.
So, Willow, are you starting to percolate? Do you have a feeling for, your primary, your type?
I would right off the bat say emotional, but I also feel like could be creative, but then I also feel like I also have the West too, which is sensory, right?
Yeah. So we all have all four. One of them will be dominant. And
I
again,
feel like I'm not the strongest in the North. Thank God I have
I
Leah on
feel like
my
you're
side.
East. I feel like there's an intuitive
Oh, you do, yeah.
essence
And
that sort of runs your life. It's like the first go-to.
the East is the creative.
It's
So
the
yeah, I'm
you're
gonna ask
intuitive.
you. I'm gonna
you're
ask you
thinking
one
of the
question.
West, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you one question, which I'm also gonna share if you want. So this is the easiest way. So of
Okay.
course you want to learn the whole thing, but when I tell my clients, ask this one question. If you're not sure about somebody's type, you can ask it on the date or in that initial texting. If you ask a person, and I'm gonna ask you right now, in one word, what is life about for you?
Connection. So I would say, yeah, then South.
So again, you can be south,
Intimacy.
east, southeast. Your mission is to love, connect, feel, and that's
Uh-huh.
why you do this work.
Uh-huh.
How your toolbox, you come up with ideas
Yes,
and
I have a
ways
lot
of
of
thinking.
creativity.
You do.
And it could be even artistic expression. It could be something
But I
you
also have
do.
a lot of drive.
Yeah, you might be Southwest.
It could be Southwest, could be Southeast, could
Mhm.
go
You
any
gotta look
direction
at
here, people.
you gotta look like, do you make it happen? You use force, you use power, or you use creativity
No, I'm
more?
not super masculine in that way. Definitely
Yeah.
more
So
feminine.
so
Probably
that is how you would, again, we develop, yeah,
Southeast. Yeah.
exactly. We develop all of it. We can really, I like to look at it as like all the tools in a toolbox available. Just pick any.
Okay, so here's my next question. Is your secondary also on the opposite axis always? Or could you have like your secondary be your polar? Like if you
No,
were
great question. No, think about like the
it's
wind.
always
You
okay.
never have north-south wind, but
Okay.
you have northeast or northwest.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're going to be
Interesting.
different.
Okay.
Somebody with
Let's
west will be
Leah.
more
Let's type
powerful.
Leah.
Well, real quick, I just want to drop this in your field.
Okay.
Because yes, your type is intimacy, love, connection. but your tool seems to be entrepreneurialism. You take that desire and you package it into things that people can learn. And I see you spend more time on your business pursuits, and you have hobbies and things like that, but I really see the most of your time is about working with a tool that delivers love and connection to others.
Yes, and I think I also do it very creatively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That was fun.
Yeah. Good.
So
That's
me,
fun.
You can
Let's
shift,
do
you
Leah.
can go in both ways, right?
Okay, you can.
You can develop
double
that,
dip.
especially for
Love double dipping. Triple dipping.
The more the merrier. I'm all for it.
I think your level of how evolved you are and how aware you are and how much personal growth work you've done, you really go beyond
with all of them.
Right, you've got more
Yeah.
range,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
you can probably adopt and integrate a lot
Yeah.
of the gifts you see in these other types because you
Yeah.
respect them and you value them and they're interesting to you.
I'm
Mm.
having a hard time deciphering what my partner might be, though.
Oh, definitely South all day long.
Oh, really? You think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, in aces, baby.
who does the Excel spreadsheets in your relationship?
Who does the spreadsheets? Leah.
No, she said
In your
self-expression. Didn't you? Yeah. What was the question again?
was the
it who
question?
does the self-expression in the relationship?
No, who does Excel spreadsheets? So
Oh.
you're not sure about your husband.
Yeah, well, her boyfriend.
Yes.
I'm the one that does the Excel spreadsheet. Matt doesn't know how to do it in Excel spreadsheet to save his
Leah's
life.
the spreadsheet queen.
But I do think I'm South.
You do, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
because the spreadsheets in the drawers where I'm obsessively compartmentalizing and color coding things, it's small. Like I don't vacuum very well, but I organize a drawer. So I don't know what that means, but it feels like I'm more South in how I present in life. Not so much because I feel like I'm really emotional. I'm intense, probably is emotional. But it's all about feeling and the senses and the textures and the yummy things and the yummy sounds and the yummy colors and all that
It's
stuff
all
is very
South.
much
All
me.
South, kinesthetic. So how do you know? Here's a quick test. And ladies, for anybody who's listening. So if I go shopping with my South friend, and I'm West, I'm very visual and prestige status. I have very hierarchical thinking. I will look at the brand and the price first.
Okay.
My South friend doesn't look at the label.
She looks at, does it look good on me? Is it a good
Feel
color for
that?
me?
How's it feel? Is it the right color?
Got you,
Is it
sis.
flattering?
Yeah.
If it's not 100% silk, she's not interested. She doesn't
That's right.
care what brand it is.
Yeah.
That's how
These
you
are
know.
fun
It's about
examples.
texture and yes.
I like it.
I get that.
It's so fun.
It is fun.
Okay, now I need you to spell it out for me, Polina, the name of the system. Put it into letters for me.
So it's Enio, E-N-I-O, Enio, and then the word style.
Eniostyle.
Okay, cool.
Eniostyle.
E-N-I-O style.
Eniostyle.
Love it. And so if somebody wants to study this with you, like let's say Leah and I were just like, well, we want to learn another system.
I need
We don't
that.
need to help dating, but
Can we? I have been attracting the same guy with the same problems for 25 years. Hook me up, sister.
Yeah. So how do you have like a mini course or an
So
easy
what I do, so for everyone, what I do, I have a podcast called Find the Right Man, and I teach the basics. So anybody
on the
listening,
Cool.
the podcast,
Fantastic.
I actually have a whole series how to recognize each type and give examples of celebrities and my clients and talk about some of the examples. So definitely check out my podcast, Find the Right Man. And if you want to connect with me, then I'm on Instagram, Polina.Solda. So DM me or follow me. I think those are the best ways to connect.
And then what does someone who's on the deep track, like they want to find the love of their life, they're sick of messing around and they're going to deep dive with you. What's that journey like?
So when you say deep dive, what do you mean?
Well, I'm assuming you do offer coaching, you work with people individually.
So
they want to know the whole system and they want to
so they
find
can
love.
reach out to me, DM me on Instagram and we can connect. So I I talk with each person. So you can submit an application, and I talk with each person individually to assess. Because how I work with my clients, I guarantee the results to each client. So being very selective about that, and that is the way to get into my one program. That's all I do. I put all of my 100% focus and attention on my clients who I serve inside of Love by Design, and
Okay.
that is what I do.
And like, is there like have you noticed a pattern of time, how much time it takes somebody? And I'm curious if that time is different depending on the type you are.
So it's a great question, and so it depends. We also work on again. Like my value in my company is empowerment. So I teach a self-coaching tool. So for every client, which speeds up things so much
Sure.
because it's no longer relying on somebody else. Like, okay, I work with a coach, and this is what we do. It's like everything becomes so faster because in addition to that, you get to coach yourself. So all of my clients, depending on how quickly. So it's all about learning how to think intentionally, because how we think determines how we feel. How we feel drives our actions, and that creates our results. So when we change how we think and we use this system, which simplifies dating, when you look at it like all men, okay, there's 4 men, one of them is my most compatible partner. I can eliminate this other 3. So you don't need as many, you don't need as much time. So it happens much faster. But I'm just going to give you one example because I know you asked for an example of the story of a client and how quickly it can happen. And it has nothing to do with what happened in the past, because I have women who haven't even dated for, let's say, 8 years. And then I have a client, Rose from UK, from London, hasn't dated for 8 years. Within 3 months, she was dating. She met she met the guy. She got into a relationship that quickly. And I also have a client who, for 10 years, West type, just like me, she dated in New York City, and she tried to date the same West type of man. She just thought, I'm so strong, I'm so successful, I'm so smart. I just need to find somebody even more successful. And so what happens is West type of men subconsciously are going to be looking for that romantic, easygoing, flexible, not the one who's going to be like, okay, I'm just like you, like, let's compete.
I'm on
Let's
a
see who's
mission.
number one, right? And it never worked out for 10 years. She joined the program within 2 months. She got into a relationship with a nice type of man, her most compatible partner. And she was like, oh my God, I can be totally myself. I always like downplayed. I tried to be feminine and like,
Right.
now
I got some people to refer to you.
so yeah, it depends. It can happen very quickly.
Love it.
That's
Such a
great.
great system. So cool to learn about it. And I am definitely going to be tuning into your podcast because I love this kind of stuff. It's so much fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. And how with a consultation call, I see that you do a free consultation. How long is that usually?
So the consultation, what I talked about, so it's an application, you apply, and when we book a call, and on that call, I walk each person through a very powerful process. So the consultation is an hour long, and then we decide together if that's the right fit. Then you can join my program. If it's not, it's going to be super valuable just to step into that realm of I didn't even know what I didn't know, because I'm going to show every person exactly the reasons why they haven't been able to find their person.
So you're still going to get some really
You'll
good
get some value out of it, even if you
Mhm.
don't go into the system. Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to set some people along the journey towards you and find out what ends up happening. I'm sure they'll meet a lot of success.
Yeah, absolutely.
so
Thanks
much.
for being with us today,
Yeah.
Polina. Such a
It was
pleasure.
such
And
a
we'll-
delicious conversation. I loved it.
We will have all of Polina's information so you can reach her in the show notes. So go check it out.
Absolutely.
Love that.
Now, our favorite part, the dish.
Well, Polina, dish it, do. We're gonna
What a
dish
fun
on you.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really great. I mean, anytime we're talking systems, and this one sounds really simple. I like the simplicity of it. I like the directions. You know, I'm always a big fan of directions. And she didn't talk about elements at all, but I could hear the elements behind the types. I was listening for that. Yeah.
Interesting. I was a little hard for me to at first kind of go, okay, well, where am I and where would Matt be? And are we compatible? Are we not compatible? And so I don't really think of him as super linear north. And he's certainly not a minimalist.
He seems more creative to me.
Yes, he has. I bet that's his secondary.
Okay.
But when I think more about north, he is very routine oriented.
Okay, yeah. Always
Very
coffee at the same
structure is
time.
yes. It's like he
To
has a
bed at the
rhythm,
same time.
and he does not steer off the path.
Okay. Okay.
And he's always early for things.
That sounds very north. Yeah.
It sounds very north. Yeah. Yeah. That's a strong value of his is structure and time management and all the things that I'm not so great at.
Well, that is very north. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he could be.
He's definitely not west. I might be. I don't know. I'm definitely.
We're gonna have to watch her masterclass and get a little bit more information.
Yeah. Before she came on, she thought I was for sure. I think creative, structure.
Creative, yeah.
And that's why I brought up the
And
spreadsheets. Like, well, if you saw my spreadsheets, you would see it all come together.
I would think you're the north because of your spreadsheets. Well, and again, I think it's, it's as you evolve, as you grow, as you step into your wholeness more and more that you can take on, that you have access to all of these personality pattern types.
Yeah, I feel like we were just teased a little bit. Like I want to go deeper in. I like the complexity of things. So yes, I kind of like that it's simple, but I think there's probably a lot more to it. I want to know all the layers.
Well, definitely. And also with the system that we use, we want to probably cross-check her system with our system, what we know really well.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to do. Plus, then you bring in the Chinese medicine system, because in Chinese medicine, everyone is an element. Like you're either a water type or you're a metal type or you're a wood type. So there's a lot of systems to cross-check. And then, God, you bring in the Enneagram, you bring in
I know. I'm going, okay, the South is the merger and the West is the aggressive and the North is the rigid and the East is the leaving. Where would we put our precious endurer? I bet the North. I bet that would be a blend.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe in the middle.
Maybe that's the middle crowd.
Maybe in the middle. In the 5-element system in Chinese medicine, there's sort of two ways of looking at it. It's like either a wheel of 5 of these elements or earth in the middle with a cross around it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. So enduring definitely holds a lot of that earthy energy for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Go check her out. Go check out Polina. And
her podcast is Find the Right Man. Sounds really interesting. Sounds like she talks about this a lot in her podcast. So you can really kind of start to get the gist of it more and understand it more and figure out what you are and what men or women in the past you have dated, or partners, partners in the past, and why it might not have worked, because they might not have the best right polar attraction for you.
Well, and I'm thinking of a friend right now, and I'm guessing, right? My educated guess, and I know her for 20 years, and I could be totally wrong, so I don't know the system all that well, so there's a caveat, but I think she's probably an East.
Okay.
And I know she likes a West, but there aren't a lot of West guys out where she lives in marijuana farmland.
Okay,
so
totally.
It's like, and it's been, or when she lived in Santa Cruz, it's like not a lot of West energy coming off.
Also a bunch of pot farmers in this town. Yeah, exactly. So that's a really interesting thing to think about as you start to learn these systems. Like, are you in a location?
You're in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you need to move to Chicago or New York to find your West man.
Except for when you love the forest and the water, man. She just, her happy place is not there.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many factors. She might just have to import, that works a lot of times.
Well, and it could be, not to say that there aren't other entrepreneurs. There's marijuana farmers who certainly are. Her son is probably the biggest one. in the industry there who's got that most drive, that West essence.
Okay. Yeah.
But I can see how it actually would broaden your direction and where you look. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know that you're stuck looking in the wrong place.
Yeah, you're like in the
And
wrong
you just haven't looked
pool.
outside your circle of
You
influence.
need to get out of that pool and go check out some
Right,
different
because there's
waters.
restaurant owners,
Yeah,
there's
totally.
therapists, I'm sure, that live somewhere that are
Around up
entrepreneurs.
there.
I mean, I don't know.
That's great though. Great fun, great system.
Yeah.
And Polina, great energy. Just brings
Yeah.
a lot of
Oh,
enthusiasm.
so I should talk so fast.
Yes, with her whole body and her
Yes,
whole
with her
being.
whole
Yeah.
body. Really fun.
Very,
Okay.
very fun.
Catch you later.
Love, love, love.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric Sex Master Coach and Positive Psychology Facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and Functional Medicine Doctor and Taoist Sexology Teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.